Joining us now is the lead director of Speak Out Africa Initiative, Kenneth Eze. Kenneth, thank you for joining us on Newsnight.
Thank you, Nigeria.
45 ministers as we speak. We don't know if there's going to be an addition tomorrow or next week, but as we speak, 45 ministers, the largest in the history of Nigeria's democracy so far. And then we're asking for a cut in the cost of governance. Is that going to be a reality someday? Should we still expect that to happen?
Yes, thank you. I think Nigeria's hope were dashed when we saw the list. Some of us in the civil society, we actually objected it because, of course, there is no justification for such a bogus cabinet minister. Having a bogus cabinet does not guarantee service delivery or efficiency.
Right.
Rather, you are just going to make the whole work to be cumbersome and to, feed on the taxpayers' money of Nigerians. The truth is that it seems the leaders who are telling citizens to sacrifice are not ready to do so, because we had expected that maybe just a very sizable number, and you mustn't keep creating ministries, and the climax of it is we had hoped that this administration will do away with the Minister for State. We had clamored for that, and our reason is very simple, that the Constitution has no place for Minister for State. Secondly, just in the last ended administration of the same party, we saw two key ministers of state in that government publicly telling Nigerians that this office is similar, is akin to doing nothing.
Let me cut in. You're going to carry on. Just let me cut in. So the Minister of State portfolio is unconstitutional. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, carry on.
Minister for State, yeah. And so beyond that, I also cited, maybe I should mention name, the former Minister for State for Labor and Productivity, Festus Keyamo, SAN, made it very clear that that office is synonymous to almost doing nothing. And so we had expected that for a government that knows and that was planning to subject Nigeria into what we're experiencing today, removal of stress subsidy on the first day, Nigerians can no longer hardly to feed, and such government should have told that same part to consolidate on the confidence of Nigerians, because of course Nigerians are not objecting the removal of subsidy. What Nigerians have been clamoring for is the process and the way and manner it was done. And so if Nigerians can bear all this, I see no reason why the same government will be presenting to Nigerians 45. And as we speak, the Ministry of Youth, which was reassigned again to the man there, 62-year-old, let me commend Mr. President for adhering to the clamor and the request of the young people, that such man will be difficult to be in tune with the current reality and challenge that is facing the youth. So the man has been assigned to Niger Delta Affairs. And so it's very, very possible that even the Ministry of Youth again, we may also be seeing that. But in all, what we are looking at, be it as it may to now, is what templates has Mr. President up to now presented to Nigerians about how he intends to cut down the cost of governance.
And so what in your call for reduction of cost of governance, obviously abolition of Minister of State cabinet positions, like you said, implementation of the Orosan reports to merge some of the ministries that you say are overlapping. Can you mention specifically some of those ministries and then offer some recommendations for the president in cutting down the cost of governance when it comes to his cabinet?
Thank you. Being that we can no longer be talking about the issue about abolishing the ministry office of states for ministers, because that has already been done. Although we are going to see redundancy, so many ministers for states are going to be doing nothing. And just yesterday, we saw some of the ministry, the Minister of State never made mention, never spoke all through the meetings. we saw only the senior minister talking all through. So that is just a sample, a litmus test of what we are going to see. And that was why we had called earlier for abolition of that office. Responding to your question, the issue about cutting down the cost of governance, we are asking that it should go beyond mere rhetoric, mere words. The office of Mr. President, through the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, should present a standardized template on how this administration intends to cut down the cost of governance for its political office holders, and including even the civil servant, the MDAs. The reason is because, for example, we want to know, should the minister be flying private jets? We want to know, should the minister be flying first class flights? We want to know, how many aides should a minister be, should we be expecting a minister? We want to know, are we going to be, bombarded with entourage and barrage of retinue of cars, of convoys, maybe for when a minister is passing? We want to know all this. Let this template be released so that we will be able to hold them accountable. Not just to tell us you are going to cut down the cost of governance, you are looking into it, and what we are seeing is different from that. So it is on this note we are asking that this administration, now as they go for a retreat, as we have been told, they should come up with templates. We need to see it. That is on that part. Now, coming on the overall about the issue of cutting the cost of governance. This is very serious because, of course, our economy is leaning every day. I must commend their hopes, the promises many of them have been making today, but it's going to go beyond promises and hopes. Nigerians have heard that in successive administrations. What Nigeria wants now is service delivery. How do you put food on the table of an ordinary Nigerian? How will an ordinary Nigerian convey himself from one point to another point? That is the issue that is facing us, and we will not shy away. We are saying this because we know the humongous cost of running the office of a minister.
Okay, now in that report, the Oronsoye report, about 800 pages since 2012. Part of the recommendations was that the government should discontinue the funding of professional bodies and councils. There are several loopholes where money leaves the coffers of the government. What's your reaction to this?
Of course, yes. We had earlier advocated for implementation of Oronsoye reports in our past press briefing, and we are calling on the president that he should just take the bold step and do it. Successive administration has been maybe shying away from it for a reason best known to them. The reason is because even if it's not going to be done completely in the implementation, you can start from somewhere. For example, there are many agencies replicating functions. How do you decipher? What do you say between VIO and road safety? Now, what do you talk about ICPC and EFCC? And so what we see, even NFIU
and government funding, even NFIU bodies and
I suppose was also created from EFCC, the NFIU, Nigeria Financial Intelligence Unit. So you are just having agency duplication from National Refugee Commission. Today we are landed us to Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. And even in this new administration, we saw some person's portfolio welfare attaching to it, and we still have another. So this is a serious, and Nigerian people are paying for this without our consent, while the Nigeria are really wallowing in anguish, in pains, in poverty. These people top there are moving with convoys, don't even want to care, and it is something we should begin to look at. So we want to see action. In doing that, for example, the professional body you made mention of, they generate funds. For example, I'm an engineer by training. We pay annual dues, you pay annual trainings. And the money, we're talking about the overall income. The people in the medical profession, they also pay. So why do government still need to still give them funding? So these are things we expect the government. But even as we do that, let Mr. President and the Vice President take a lead. Are they still collecting pension as state governors?
Okay, so
we've not been told.
So
all right, I think that's a good place to leave it. Unfortunately, we don't have much time. Thank you so much, Lead Director of Speak Out Africa Initiative, Kenneth Eze, for joining us today.